Now here's what's happening today. I was fretting on whether or not people were ready. Well, last hour I gave them a quiz, and way more than half the class would have gotten a B or an A, even if I gave the test today. All right. I did give them a little warm up, which I'm going to do for you too. So I'm going to give you a little warm up. Then we're going to take this quiz, and the quiz has two halves. You got 4 problems here, and then you got 4 problems here. So we're only going to do this half. One half the quiz, and if you get all 4 of them right, you're a genius. In the last hour, only 2 kids out of the whole hour had all 4 of them right. They're hard, okay? If you get 3 out of 4, though, there was a fair number of kids got 3 out of 4. That's on track for an A, and that's if I gave the test today. Now, obviously, you'll have another night to prepare, which is tonight. What if you only get 2 of them right? Then you're on track for a B, because 2 out of the 4 hard ones, that gets you a B with this Marzano style. All right. So let's just go over some super easy stuff. This would be like the easy easies, okay? Can you do long division just with a number like 77 and 2? Yep. I hope so. Let's try that to just warm up. So the first thing you ask yourself is, does 2 go into 7? And the answer is yes. 3 times. 3 times 2 is 6. Draw the line opposite. I'm not calling it subtract, I'm calling it opposite, because remember on the real polynomial thing, sometimes it goes from positive to negative. So you're going opposite of 6. And then that makes 1, and then you bring down the 7, and then you go, does 2 go into 17? Yeah, how many times? I don't know. 2 times 8 is 16. Ooh, that's pretty close. 8. 8 times 2, 16. Opposite. 1. What's the 1 called? Remainder. So the answer to this is 2 times 38 plus 1, and that makes 77. 2 times 38 gets you close. The plus 1 remainder gets you the grand total of exactly 77. Do you get how to write that? The 2 factors plus the remainder. Any questions about that? That'd be like one of the super easy ones, and I feel like most of you would get that right. Raise your hand if you feel like you can do that tomorrow. The long division, simple long division. Okay, good. Then here's another super easy one. 2x times x squared plus x minus 1. I hope that is like, come on, Mr. Service, just distributing. I'm in higher algebra. This is insulting. I do get, though, there's a few kids that are still struggling with the power thing. It is 2x to the 3rd. And then plus 2x squared, and then minus 2x. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Cool. Then how about add or subtract polynomials? Here's a polynomial. X squared plus 3x minus 5. Here's another polynomial. 2x squared plus 5x minus 7. And what if I just say plus? Well, then the parentheses that are around these things would just drop right off, and you could just add like terms. The end. But that's too easy. That's too easy even for the practice ones. We're going to make it minus in front, because then you'll have to be careful with that negative. Still should be pretty easy. You're going to add like terms then. The x's go together. The numbers go together. All right, so there's your easies. Again, our quiz doesn't even have the easies on it, because I'm assuming you could at least get 3 out of 4 easy ones right. Now the hard ones, that's, again, I really honestly am impressed if anybody is going to be able to take that test tomorrow. I know a few of you will probably do it. A few of you will be like, heck, Mr. Server, I got 3 out of 4 today. I can easily do it tomorrow. All right. So Tate, when you just distributed this negative, how would you describe it to like a little kid who doesn't know what happens to all these?
It like flips.
Okay. So this becomes negative 2x squared, and then how about the 5x?
Minus 5x.
Okay, and then?
5x, and then positive 7.
Yes. And then you combine like terms. So this and this are like terms. Those get tricky for kids. Now, what if you suck at this kind of thing? Well, you use a calculator. And this is 1 and negative 2. How are you going to put a 1 and a negative 2 together? Well, you either go 1 minus 2, or you go 1 plus minus 2, and you'll get the same thing. What is that answer, by the way? Negative 1x squared, or just negative x squared. You can drop the 1. Cool. I'm just going to rewrite that. I wrote it too close to the other thing. Negative 1x squared. And then the x's can go together, minus 2x. And then the negative 5 and the positive 7, plus 2. Math's about being careful. Who was careful on that one and got that one right? Okay, cool. Those are the easies. So what about the hard ones? I'm going to review each kind. I've taught you to do long division, which is like this. And there will be a remainder. How do you start this kind? Yes. X. Everybody put an X up there, and it doesn't always work, but it's a good place to start. It does work on this. And then, if that did work, the next thing I would try at the top, after I'm done with the X, I'd try putting a 1 there. And that won't work. But then you'll like go, well, what should I put there then? Oh, maybe I should put a 3 there. Nolan, x times the x, what's that make?
X squared.
Good. X times the 1?
1. Just X.
And that's, yeah, just x or 1x, either way works. And then the most commonly forgotten thing,
Flip it.
negative, negative. And this then becomes 2x. How many of you passed your first part of the test? Okay, good. It's really common to forget to make both of them the opposite. Then, how do I proceed? Stephanie.
Start with another line.
Yup, let's bring down the 5. We'll bring that down as our next, another thing to bring down. Now I'm going to put a 1 up here. And then start with that 1. And then 1x is not working, Tate.
It's 2.
Yeah. If I put a 2 there, then I'll get a 2x, and that matches, so I know it's working. All right, now I'm going to multiply the 2 times the 1, and I get 2 times 1 is 2. And then, most commonly forgotten thing, negative, negative, 3. What's 3 called? The remainder. So what's the answer? Well, you go x plus 1 times the other factor, x plus 2. You know, those came from here and here. And then you got to write plus the remainder. The remainder just, that's how you write it on the test. Now, if you forgot that, but you had all of this work perfect, I could at least give you part credit, but it's not that hard to just put it all together. Okay, that's long division. Questions? Yes?
Wait, if it's plus 2, wouldn't it go plus 1 and then it would be plus 3 on the bottom? Or am I?
You're messed up. It's okay. Let's talk through the 2. You mean this 2 right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this 2 times the x, would you agree that that's 2x?
Oh, is it times?
Yup, it's times.
Okay.
And 2 times 1 makes 2. Okay, yep. All right. Okay, so there's long division. I'm not deluding myself to think that everybody's great on long division, but I think most of you have got it now. Then what else you got to know? Remember that factor by grouping? I called it divide and conquer. I always do it like this so that this sign stays with this number. All right, see if you can do it. Quick, gentle reminder, I don't see any phones out right this second, but I'm sensing one. My spider sense is going off. I'm not sure where it is, but I feel like there's one out. Don't want it to go in jail. Make sure I don't see it. Okay.
I finished.
Tate, how do I start then?
Oh, wait. Alright, hold on. I almost finished. I forgot one.
Okay.
Alright, done.
How do you start? Looking at this, what do you take out?
The x squared.
Yup. And then you have x plus 5. And how do I know that's right? Because I go this times this, and this times that, and it should make the thing I had. X to the third plus 5x squared. Cool, it looks like it's working to me. And then I go plus 4, and then factor this out. That's the phone that I sensed. Put it up in jail. Okay, I'm going to now factor out this 4, and I have an x plus 5. Coincidence that they're the same? Of course not. Set it up that way on purpose. Xavier, do you know how to finish it?
Yeah, give it it'd be x plus 5.
Yep, because these two are the common factor then, so they go to the front. Okay, then what?
Then x2 plus 4.
Yep. There it is. Now, did anybody even look at this to see if it would factor more? Because if you did, you win.
Yep.
Because if you looked at that and went, can I factor that? That's the key, because some people are going to think to factor it and some people aren't. I'm telling you, it's going to happen even later this hour. People are going to not realize, oh, it can factor again? I didn't see that. All right, cool. That is called factor by grouping, or divide and conquer. All right, next kind. Question. Why can't you factor this one? Because it's not negative. If it had been x squared minus 4, it would have factored to x plus 2 and x minus 2. But this one isn't a difference of squares. So bottom line, you can't factor it. You might think you can. Like, isn't it x plus 2 and x plus 2? No, it's not, because then you'd have a plus 4x in the middle. This does not factor.
So positives can factor.
Yes, when it's like that, it has to be a minus. That's why they call it a difference of squares. You kind of got it right that this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square, but it has to be a difference. So it has to be a minus in there. If there was a minus in there, it would factor more, but it wasn't, so you can't. Okay, so then the third thing you have to know. We're not even going to do this one. Don't even write it, just watch. Would you even know what to do to multiply it out? Okay, I see most people saying yeah. I'm going to ignore these two. Do you get, to start with, you could just multiply that 7 all the way out. Know what I mean? You just go 7 times this, 7 times that, 7 times the other thing. And then, if you're kind of overwhelmed because it's too big, you can do that. And then you just erase your scribbles, and you go this thing times all 3. And that's going to make 6 things. And then you got to do this thing times all 3. And that's going to make 9 things that you have to get all added together. That is many chances to screw up. So this I'm going to call the careful test. It's not that hard. Just distributing.
So there should be 9 by the time.
But there'd be 9 answers. And then some of them are like terms. So it's like there's a lot of chances to mess up. So I'm going to just say that kind of problem is just a careful test. We won't have anything that bad on the quiz today, but we will have things that are that hard on the test.
So is that like an R3 model?
Yep, for sure. Something like that. And last but not least is plain old-fashioned factoring. This is a little too easy, but I don't want to like hurt you on the first one. So can you factor that? Don't say it. Do it. Can you factor that?
So like,
We had a whole test on factoring, so like you're supposed to be able to factor that. Try it. You're not using your phone, but you should put it back there. Take, you got a question?
Wait, that's a 6, right?
That is a 6. Sorry, I'll make my 6 more.
I just didn't know if it was
6 looking.
8 or 6.
Wait, does that have to add, get to -5 and then?
Think of it as multiplies to this. That's these two numbers, they multiply to -6. But the outside and the inside ones, when you multiply it all out, that's when you have to get your -5. To start with though, please forget the rule they taught you in the middle school, which is they'll always multiply to this and add to that. No, we're in Algebra 2 now, and that little rule is wrong. Doesn't always work. And I hate rules that sometimes work. That's like a really dumb rule. Like sometimes you can put your, I'm not gonna pause this. So here's how I taught you to factor. X and X, because it's a three-step process. Then the second step is it two positives? Just think about that. Could it possibly be plus and plus? No, because I have a negative in the problem. Then, careful on this. Could it be two negatives? No, it cannot. You know why? Because a negative times a negative wouldn't equal -6. See how it can't be two negatives? Because a negative times a negative wouldn't equal -6. So there has to be one positive. Now that you got those signs straight, it's easy. The only way to make a 6 is either 3 times 2, and if you try it, let's just show you quick. I put in the 3 and the 2 and I go, wait a minute, I'm not getting even close to 5. I'm getting 3x and -2x. That doesn't make 5. So it's not 3 and 2. What are the other choices? Must be 1 and 6. And now you only have a 50-50 chance, but stick the 5 and, or the 1 and the 6 somewhere. I'm just going to go like this. I guessed wrong. 6x and -1x makes +5x. What do I want? -5x. So therefore, if it's ever the opposite of what you want, you change to the opposite signs. So this becomes minus and this becomes plus.
Doesn't it still technically add to that though?
That's one of the things I don't want you to, because in a minute, like when you see your quiz, there'll be like a number here. And then it won't work anymore. On the easy ones, it works. But that's like saying, well, sometimes you can touch electrical wires. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. It won't. Yeah, I know I'm recording. I'm just saying. So it's not safe to touch electrical wires. So we don't want to sometimes, you know, like have sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. When there's a number out here, that won't work. So, all right. So final answer is this. And then, wait a minute though. What if there's 2 blanks? We do that on purpose to make sure you don't forget. If there's 2 blanks, one of them is, did you factor it? The other is, what are the actual solutions? And there's 2 of them. X equals -1. And I just looked at this and realized, did anybody else realize? Wait a minute. That's not a 2. That's not a 2. That was just Tate being a pain. So I'm going to put this back to an X. Sorry. Okay. So then x equals 6 and x equals -1. Do you get these are called solutions? It's different than the factors. Okay. Step it up one last notch. X to the third plus 2x squared plus 1x. Everybody gets so baffled on these, and it's kind of funny because it's just one little thing that's making your head hurt. And then after that, it's so easy. Do you get there's something in all 3? What's in all 3 of them? X. Once you get that out of there, now it's easy. Easy mode. Can it even factor again? Well, I'm going to check it. It's a 3-step process. It's all pluses, so that's easy. And then it's got to, how do we multiply to 1? It's got to be a 1 and a 1. And then you check it with the outside and the inside. X plus x is 2x. Cool, it worked. 3 answers. 0, -1, and -1. And I know technically 2 of those are the same, but you should look at all 3 and see if, you know, sometimes there's actually 3 answers, hint, hint.
If you have the same answer on the test, you have to write down both.
I would, just to be extra careful. All right, so I'm about to give you a little practice quiz. We are going to start it before lunch, then you'll finish it, then we'll grade it, and that'll help you decide if you're ready and you want to take tests tomorrow. Cool. If you're not ready, you get to take tomorrow to do the practice worksheet and ask me questions, and you can take the test the next day. So everybody gets to do what they want. All right. So for the rest of the hour, it's just taking that practice quiz, grading it, and then kids will have a worksheet that's posted on Schoology that they'll have to do before they take the test. That's either tonight or tomorrow.